What is up, everyone? We are here today to talk about lube. I mean, lube. All joking aside, we all should know how important taking care of our feet can be. Not to mention, no one wants to chafe and or have any type of discomfort or irritation while we are out running our ultras or a marathon or half marathon or any training run, anything of that nature. So, what can you do to prevent any type of chafing, blisters, and hopefully have no irritation and or annoyance out there on your runs? Seriously, there's so many options that you can do to lube up to prevent and prepare any type of irritation or blisters. So, let's go over two main different types for foot care when you're trying to prevent any type of blister, irritation, anything of that nature on your feet. There are lubricants and then there are powders. First up, I'm going to talk to you about powder. So, what is powder and why would you use powder to try to prevent blisters? So, powder is actually something that absorbs moisture, and this is 2Tom's Blistershield. And yes, I do have it in a bag because this shit gets everywhere. I feel like the seal does not completely seal, more or less. I probably just use and abuse this. So I have my Blistershield in a Ziploc baggie, but there's a scooper in here. I put one scoop in one sock, put one scoop in the other sock, and it is used to absorb moisture within the sock, within your feet, around your feet. So it is a great product. I used to use it all the time, and currently I have kind of stepped away from using blister powder because I live in a very wet, damp environment, and I advise or suggest people to use Blistershield when they're in a dry environment. Anytime that it sounds crazy. Oh, a dry environment, but I want it to absorb moisture. Yeah, because you sweat and your feet get sweaty. So that sweat, when it starts to form in your sock and your feet and all that good stuff, that Blistershield, the blister powder, will help absorb that moisture, hopefully preventing any type of blisters. I did use this during javelina, and I'm not saying that is the reason I got blisters because it was getting shit in my feet or in my socks and my shoes that gave me blisters. But it is a really, 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 really good product. I highly suggest it. Again, 2Tom's Blistershield. This is small pack and it lasts a while. So great product. I highly, highly encourage it. You can find this on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it other places, but does anyone use anything other than Amazon these days? Probably not. Now let's go into lubes. There's so many, and as I sadly showed, I brought the wrong lube to the party, so we'll leave this for later. But lube is super important, and I highly, highly encourage you try what works best for you. I'm gonna give there's Aquaphor, there's Salty Britches, there's Desitin, there is Squirrel's Nut Butter, and there's also Body Glide. And I'm not going to lie, there's so much more. So let's kind of go over why I have all of this and kind of how I use it and where I use it and what for. So again, let's go through. This is Body Glide. This is what a stick lube looks like. So there's the lube so everyone can see it. So let's get lube. Yep, lube. It's just in a stick. Very nice. I use this for everything except for my feet. I honestly don't like this for my feet because it's not thick enough, I would say, for myself, but I use this so much on. So if you like chafe underneath your arms or you chafe in between your legs, anyone with thick thighs, this is your shit. This is your jam. It is more of like a paste. It's like a deodorant. It is literally a stick of lube. And I like to throw this on in between just because I can easily put it between my legs, put it on the side of me. I've put it here on my neck before when I've had chafing from a shirt or a vest right there. Really, really good lubes. It is Body Glide. Highly recommend it. You can actually find this at Walmart, believe it or not. But you can find it at Walmart, any sporting store. Obviously, Amazon, it's your go-to. Really, really good lube for other things, not for feet. I mean, I have seen plenty of people use these for feet, so I'm not trying to diss it. This is just what I personally use it for. So there's Body Glide. Now let's get into Squirrel's Nut Butter. I feel like everyone knows Squirrel's Nut Butter. It is a great product. And this one is the all natural anti chafe kind. So let's actually take a look at this so you guys can see what this looks like. And please be understanding that it's Florida. This shit melts and it is just a glob. Let's get that on there. A glob of lube. And I'm going to be 100% honest. This thing smells funny. It's like cocoa butter with like a little bit of something else. It is a great product. I do not use this for my feet as well, which is so funny to be like, oh my gosh, Liz, do you use anything for your feet? I will get there. But this is something that I actually just like to use. Like, honestly, sometimes I don't have Body Glide in reach. I use this a lot in the sense of like they make that little small container where the small containers, something I just throw in my pack. I can pull it out, throw a little bit of lube on my side if I'm chafing underneath my boobs because your girl chafes there all the time. And just trying to figure out, ways to use it in that aspect. I use it sporadically. Again, I don't love the smell of this. I'm going to be 100% honest. I know some people that absolutely love the smell of this. So everyone has their own opinion. It's a great product. And obviously I have it. It goes in my blister kit. And the reason I have it in there is because sometimes it's easy just to grab a scoop. You can literally grab as much as you want. You can see it. You can put your hands in it, all that good stuff. I like that. It's kind of nice. And also it's just my backup, to be 100% honest with you. And I have had this leak. I don't know if you can tell, like I'm getting it on my hands right now. I do keep it in a bag because I hate when things are, like leaking everywhere. So it's in a bag, folded up, and that goes in my blister kit. And that's a kit that I take with me to all races to try to help any type of runners out there. Next, I'm going to go over Desitin actually. So, a lot of people use Desitin. It is very, very thick. If you don't know what Desitin is, here's a picture of it, or a little close up of what Desitin. So come on, get into zoom. Look at that. Look at it. It is white, thick. I'm trying to. Oh, there she is. It is. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm gonna clean this up real quick. Luckily, I have a tissue right here and just. Okay, so Desitin's great. It does have a horrible smell. Reminds me of changing babies' butts and all that good stuff. But it is a paste, not so much a gel. And here is, Desitin, if anyone didn't know, but it is a paste, super, super thick. I think back in the days, everyone used to use this. And, it's kind of like an old school type thing of people are like, yeah, just use Desitin. It's good. And I have it just in case. I want to say I've used it maybe once, maybe twice. It feels like I used a whole bunch of it because I have a lot gone, but it's just an option. I have never used this on my feet. I want to say I used this on someone else's feet once, which sounds really funny. But it's really, really, really good. Also, I want to say half the reason I have this is because, side note, Desitin helps with heat rash, and I put it all over my legs once. I do remember now. I put it all over my legs once to try to help alleviate some of the rash that I was forming when I got heat rash. I got this tip from a friend, and that's why I have it. I do keep it in my bag. So this is also in my blister kit, which I hate to say this, almost everything is in my blister kit. Lube is good, and you need it in 100-mile races or any race in reality. Next up, I have a few different types of actual lube for running. And that is Aquaphor and Salty Britches. Aquaphor, I have a giant ass tube of Aquaphor, giant tube, and this is a clear. Let me try to get some of that out for everyone to see. Where you go? Come on. Get my face out of the screen. Squeeze. Oh my gosh, this is a thick. There it is. That is Aquaphor, and honestly, this shit is gold. I also have to clean this up now. The reason I have this in my bag, honestly, in such a big amount is this Salty Britches is super expensive. This is very inexpensive. This is like a cheat code when you play video games. You know how you have cheat codes? So Aquaphor is great for the sense of training runs and practicing using this and making sure, you prevent blisters. So I like to use this for all of my long runs, all of my everyday type running because it's inexpensive and we do tons of training. So this is really nice. You put it all over your feet, and just lube up those pinky toes, those feet. I'll kind of explain this in a second. But I love it. And it's cheap, it's easy. You can buy giant quantities, which I really like. And then you have something like Salty Britches. Again, I love Salty Britches. Obviously, I have it. It is a small tube, as you guys can see in this. It's up to my hand, very, very tiny tube. And looks just like Aquaphor. It is a little bit thicker. Let me see if I can actually get some of this out without having to. So it's a little bit thicker. I don't know if you can see that really well. I'll try to get my face out. A little bit thicker. This is like the black version, which I want to say this version is quote unquote like the aqua marine something something, but hands down probably one of the best, in my opinion, lubes out there because of how thick it is. And I live here in Florida. It is muddy, it is swampy, and I feel like this actually prevents blisters way more than Aquaphor does, because I could leave it on there and trust it'll last a little bit longer because of how thick it is. Aquaphor is a little bit more runnier, to be 100% honest, but still, in a pinch, this is great. I always carry it with me. It's also, both of these are in my blister kits, but I would be 100% honest. Lube is used as like something to, you put it on your foot. So if you have your foot here, you put lube all over your foot, bottoms, pig toes, in between the toes, on top of your foot, around the heel, pretty much as possible, and then you put your sock on. The reason some people don't like lube is because of that exact reason. It is time consuming, not gonna lie, and it is messy. And honestly, it is a weird feeling if you're like a feelings person when you put on a sock. So a lot of people like Blistershield for that, like a powder. But then again, I have also witnessed and seen powders clump up in people's socks, and then you feel that in your run, and that's just, drives you crazy. So there's things to keep into consideration when trying these things out. That is why you should practice using lube before you go out in a race and use it. Even if you don't get blisters, throw it in your shoe or throw it in your feet, put on your shoes and go see how it feels, because you just never know, and you don't want to be that person that doesn't know and then you try it out and you're like, actually, I hate lube, I should have used powder type deal. But one thing, a tip that I've learned from your good boy, Andy Glaze, and something I've kind of done and seen and learned to do is pre-plan lube for races. So this looks disgusting. Look at this thing. Lube all in the bag, and it's all over the place, because what I would do is stick lube in here, squeeze in a whole bunch of lube, and I literally roll it all out. So I learned this trick from a good friend of mine where I watched him do this. Put lube all in the bag, right? Put it everywhere, as thinly across the whole entire bag as possible, just similar to that. And then you open the bag up. I'm not going to do this right now, but you open the bag up, turn it inside out, and it's like a glove. And then you put this all over your feet. You do not have dirty hands. You don't have to worry about getting lube everywhere else. It literally is on your feet, and then you go. It's super, super cool, super convenient. You can put this in your vest. It's super tiny. You can put it in your belt. It's super, super convenient, and you always have a little bit of lube with you. I highly suggest doing this for all races, just in case. And then this is just really nice because I don't like having dirty hands. And if you're, 50 miles into a race, you have sugar and shit all over the place. That's just another thing to get into the lube, to go into your foot, and then, go into your sock, which could potentially cause a blister. So super, super useful. This is a little trick. Again, putting lube inside of a plastic bag and then keeping this on you. I do this for everything, or like something I do like when applying Salty Britches or Aquaphor to my feet. I actually put on a glove, or I put it in this bag and I do it just like that. It's super, super easy, super convenient, and I personally love doing it. And again, this is just few and far. There's so many more options out there. These are just some of them that I have in here. Let me know in the comments below if you use a different type of lube and what kind it is and why you use it. I will also say, again, this is a good lube for everything. I personally use it for body parts. These lubes I use for my feet. I do use this lube sometimes for like body parts too. Again, I use Squirrel's nut butter sometimes for just random spots on the body. And then last but not least, or back to the beginning, we have powder that I have used and I do recommend. Everyone's a little different. Some people, prefer it over the lube. And then also, I've recently found these. So this is a small, tiny piece of Aquaphor in a tube. Perfect. Slide this little bad boy in your vest and you got some lube on the go. So I recently found these at the store and was like, this is freaking genius. So I encourage you to try these out too. If you know you like Aquaphor and you like Salty Britches or any type of liquid based gel lube, whatever you want to call it, I would try something like this. You can easily carry it with you. It's pretty inexpensive, and I think it came with 4 or 5 of them. Easy to put in that pack or in your belt. And it's just something to have just in case. Again, so I want to go over one last thing before I let all of you go with all of my lube tips. So if you have blisters, pre-tape your blisters. What does that mean? Taking a piece of tape, putting it over your blister. That way you, or you have a hot spot that you know you get blisters. Do that. Then put lube on your feet, then put your socks on, or put powder in your shoes. If you've never had blisters and you don't want to experiment with lube, that's fine. You don't have to. But I recommend at least knowing what you like, if it's powder or lube, considering. Honestly, one thing also to mention is this is really hard to carry with you out in the course. So say you're doing a race and you want to carry an extra pair of socks that you may change mid-run, not at an aid station. You probably can't put this in your socks out there, but you can pre-put this in your socks before you go out, and then just put those pair of socks in a bag. That way, A, they don't get wet, and B, that you have your powdered socks and the powder's not going everywhere. But then you also have the ability to carry something like this. So there's plenty of options. What do I recommend? I recommend lube. I do. I prefer it. I love it. And it has prevented and helped me not get blisters in so many ways. And we all know, and if you don't know, your girl has dealt with blisters so much. I highly, highly encourage to lube up the right kind of lube. So thank you so much for listening to this first episode of Lessons with Liz. There will be tons to come, and hopefully so much knowledge to give. So if you have any recommendations on things that you want to learn about, please leave a comment. Let me know. I would love to chat about them. I have a few things in mind that I'd like to educate everyone on, and I cannot wait to continue to share so much knowledge with everyone.